All right, today, Tone Junkie TV, we're gonna play some real amps, which is a departure for us, Sooze, isn't it? We got a little Helix at our feet here set up for just some light effects in case we want it. This is a Gibson Skylark. And,
Year? Old?
Late 60s.
Okay.
That is the amp on 10, actually.
Well, that's full bore.
That's full bore. So
wow.
This is not a super dirty amp. Look, here's the second input. Try that. It's not super dirty.
Yeah, and then we'll go to the first one again, just so.
Yeah, it's like there's like you can hear there's like some capacitance difference, you know. Sounds great.
Pretty cool.
I kind of like this thing because it doesn't get super loud, and you can kind of it starts to like breathe, and it doesn't get super dirty.
So no tone at all.
There's no tone. That is the tone. It's all tone.
It comes with
all tone. Yeah,
I gotcha.
Absolutely beautiful amp.
Really
We've done it for the Kemper. I think I want to release this for the Helix ASAP because it's just a gorgeous sound.
Yeah, the Skylark 1.3 profile is amazing. So I made a performance
on the Kemper.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, that's a killer one. This amp is actually a clone of another amp that I own, which is the Fender Vibra Verb.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not the Vibra Verb, the Vibra Champ.
Oh yeah, the little guy.
So it's just like a Champ clone with some different different tubes, and it's really a Vibra Champ clone because it's got this tremolo kind of thing. Okay. So you want to hear that amp?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Sooze, this is a 67-ish. Yes, no, I don't know what year it is, but it's after 64. And it's a cool little amp, and it's on 10, so I'm going to turn it back down. And I just heard it come to life. And
you're holding the amp.
And I'm holding it. I mean, it's tiny, dude. It's tiny, and it's on right now.
Right.
And it's also got a small little. Ooh, I just got shocked a little bit, so I'm going to be careful. I'm going to put it down.
Wow.
Yeah, I just got shocked on the bottom screw.
On live Tone Junkie TV.
I was just shocked. The tone is shocking. Anyway, here is the amp, and let me just get this mic where it needs to be. Which is like here. I'm actually going to move the amp instead of moving the mic. because the amp is lighter.
That's so
the amp
good.
is lighter. So there we go. That's kind of where I would put it right there. And here we go. You can hear this one's not as bright. I don't know if it's a speaker choice thing.
Yeah, it's
I don't know if I don't know what it is. But this amp kind of sounds like a littler version of its Blackface brothers. You know what I mean? And so I think it's a little better quality than a lot of the other.
What would be the step up from this?
Like the Princeton.
Princeton's the next one.
And we could play Princeton next.
This is a 10-inch, 8-inch, small little speaker.
The 8-inch speaker.
Oh, okay.
8-inch. Sooze, I actually am realizing at this moment I was electrocuted a little worse than I realized a few moments ago. My hand is very tingly, but that's okay.
Wow.
So here's the Princeton, non-reverb. So clear those effects down there, and then show us what this thing sounds like.
I want to point out it looks enormous compared to
it looks like a giant amp compared to the last couple ones.
So
I mean, it doesn't. Here, move the guitar so they can see it. I mean, it's really
it's quite tiny.
It's quite small. It's got a 10-inch speaker, but here's the amp on 5. Let's hear it, Sooze. Delay on. Is the delay? Oh, it is. There we go.
I'll give you $500 for it right now. That sounds great.
It's funny you say that, man, because I remember being a younger guitar lad about 15 years ago. You know, I was 20, 15 years ago. I remember going into all these guitar shops, and you would see a ton of these. Fender hadn't reissued them yet. People didn't really see. I mean, of course, the older cats knew about them, but now people love the Princetons and stuff, and now these go for more than super reverbs. It's like switched. You used to be able to super reverbs twins, you couldn't find them, and these things you could just see all over the stores, and then it's completely switched. You can barely give away a super reverb, a vintage super reverb these days. I mean, you can get Blackface super reverbs for like $1,000-$1,200, which is like
those are like the big 410.
410, yeah. So I have one over there, but I don't want to lug it up here. It's too heavy. There's some other amps. We'll go a little different direction. But here, we'll put this thing on 10. See what that sounds like, and just it's a rock amp, I think, at its core. That's the whole thing on 10. I mean, that's the 10 on the treble and bass too.
Okay.
And that's a trick if you want more gain. The treble and bass on these things are just high and low pass filters, and then mid knobs are just the entire amp signal. So you're actually just pulling the whole amp signal down, and then if you pull the high and low down, you can actually create a shape.
Oh.
Yeah. So all these do is just limit signal. They're just filters, high pass and low pass filters. Cool. Want to play something very different?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Here's a Tweed Deluxe. All right, Sooze, this is a 57 Tweed Deluxe, and this is an amp that is truly special in terms of its history. This is the Hotel California amp. This is a bunch of amps. If you hear that sort of mid-range, you'll hear there's a pronounced mid-range in this thing. I've got the tone at 5. And it goes to 12, so that's actually below halfway, so it's a little below halfway.
Okay.
And this is the instrument channel. I'm just going to EQ up because this thing has a lot more gain than some. That's the amp on 3, a lot louder than some of these other ones, right?
Okay.
So it amps a lot louder than those other ones we were just playing. It's a deluxe, so it's larger. But anyway, go ahead.
Pretty cool.
Here's it straight up. I'm going to crank it a little bit. It's not on 10, but try this.
Amps are pretty cool.
They're really cool. They're really cool. But at the end of the day, I walk away from it going, none of these things sound like people say they sound like. Or maybe it's just that words don't.
It's hard to describe, yeah.
Maybe that's it. It's just that words don't really sum them up well.
Right.
How would you describe this?
It's like, part of it's burly and bigger and
growly.
It
growly.
Growly. Yeah. The touch sensitivity is huge. Like, you know, barely playing that loud. You know, it's just really clean and sweet still. And then you just give it a little bit with your right hand, and it's like ready to launch.
It's like anything fine. Like you're a bourbon drinker, Sooze. That's like when they describe bourbons or wine or coffee, the descriptions they use are actually the most minute details.
Totally, yeah.
No one says, this bourbon tastes like burning. But they all do.
Yeah.
They all taste a little like gasoline. Right?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
Fire,
just
heat. Yeah.
what's like around that flavor. They all taste the same, right? It's the subtlety around the flavor.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. More vanilla, or more caramel, or whatever.
You could taste the cheapest bourbon from a tequila, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The difference.
Right. You could take, like, you can, if you ask someone who knows what they're talking about, they can tell you if it's wine or beer.
Yeah, right.
Of course.
Yeah.
Even the worst, cheapest wine, the worst, cheapest bourbon, you can identify from something else. And then all the descriptors are about all the little details.
Yeah.
I think that's true about amps in a way that, like, we describe these things as, you know, sure, it's grunty, it's growly, but I don't know that you can turn one of these up, or a Bassman, a blackface Bassman, or 18-watt Marshall, and really tell me that you can tell exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially when you bring in the microphones and everything. It's like,
yeah.
all these are going to sound like a 906 a bit.
Right. Yeah.
You know? So anyway, what else do you want to play, Sooze? Let's play another amp.
Should
Let's
we
play
stay
one
in
more.
the-
What's the one more amp that you like? I got to play that one.
Stay in the Fender camp?
We could do whatever. You want to go to a Vox?
What about a Blackface Deluxe?
Okay. Do I have one?
I think it's right there.
I know I have one.
I think there's 5 of them. I'm just kidding.
Ready? Are you hearing the radio? Yeah, sometimes you get radio sounds. These were not precision built boxes, you know. I mean, even though I'm turning the reverb on and stuff, but yeah, sometimes you get little radio sounds. You know, you got to tune it out, but you know. You see all the trouble I'm having here? I'm trying to get the verb pedal to turn on. This is actually the challenge of having old amplifiers. They sometimes don't want to work.
Right.
So now, for some reason, the verb doesn't want to turn on this amp. I don't know if it's the switch is bad or what. But anyway, turn on some nice, put on some nice dynamic hall, maybe some delay or something. You know.
So already I noticed that this amp is actually like splatty and not round on the bottom, like I thought it would be.
Yeah.
It's more like plink plink on the low notes, and obviously that scoop thing, maybe coming from that last amp.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. I would say I maybe don't like it as much as even the Champ.
9 years later, this is what that Tweed amp became.
Interesting.
You know.
Sounds like this. And that's on 4.
You want to hear it on 10?
How about 8? Just for our ears. Oh man.
Go ahead. It's so loud. It's so loud in here. Like
loud.
That's ridiculous.
An assault.
It absolutely is a brilliant sounding amplifier, and one of the best ever made, probably. I would say.
Classic is all get.
I mean, you just heard that what we're able to do there. Yeah, I mean, that's what's the saying? Nobody has ever sold more Gibson Les Pauls and Marshall half stacks than Jimmy Page did with his Tele and Fender Deluxe.
Oh yeah. Fine.
Because Zep 1 is one of these on 10, with a Tele, and that's the Zep 1 sound.
Right.
I think that's true. I don't know. Sometimes I read it on the internet.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wander to the gear page, and I just hang out in that den of thieves over there for a while, and sometimes they rub off on me. I walk away saying all sorts of, potty mouth jokes.
This and that, yeah. Yeah, that was fascinating. What was your favorite of all the amps today?
My favorite, I think, is the Tweed Deluxe.
Okay, yeah.
Let me say this. My favorite is the Gibson Skylark, because
Interesting.
you can get this amp needs a little service. I think it needs a little love. It's got some,
Coming to a shop near you.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this looked at, and then we'll do some videos with it. But
the Skylark.
Skylark, because I think I bought that amp for $680 recently.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's old. It's got a ton of mojo. Is it a great gigging amp? No, the cabinet's super light. Those Gibsons from that era were not well built. The Vibra Champ is a lot. The build quality is a lot better, which is why you have the entire blackface line and Tweed and everything. All the amps from Fender. Fender never made an amp that wasn't roadworthy, because from the very beginning, Leo was making amps for players. And so every prototype, everything he did was tester amps for people. Right. So the idea that you would make something that would fall apart, no way. Yeah, and the first amps were covered in luggage material. I mean, Tweed was for luggage, and it was higher end luggage. Later they go to Tolex and stuff. But the idea was, this thing's going to be transported around. It's going to be moved. You notice the chassis on all those basements, and on these blackface amps. What do you notice about the angle and how the blackface amps, the knobs, sit flush below the top of the amp? That is, without putting a cover on it, that's meant to be protection. So if someone puts something on top of it, it's hopefully not making contact with the knobs. It's meant to keep the knobs out of the way. Same thing here. This tilt back, I believe, was designed so that something would come here and hit the front of the amplifier before it hit the knobs.
Gotcha.
I don't think Jim Marshall was trying to do that. If you look at a Marshall head, a lot of other, it doesn't seem like the knobs are completely flush behind. I think it was just, that's how they mounted it. So the Skylark, though, is made at a time when Gibson is just trying to copy Fender, cash in, let's sell some units.
Gotcha.
They're not made, I don't know what they're made of. Particle board, dust, hopes, dreams. I don't know. It's
all of the
some
above.
glue. It's so I think that is a cool amp in terms of, if you want to go get a vintage amp, check out a Gibson Skylark. The one I have are the more expensive aesthetically, like they're the kind of the coolest looking, but the next generation after that is like black with like a very 70s brown panel.
Oh, right.
And very similar amp. I mean, very similar amp, but cheaper because a lot of people just don't know about them, and they,
Don't look so cool.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe Tweed Deluxe, but they're like $5 or $6 grand. They're so expensive now.
Yeah. Is there a good reissue of that, the Tweed Deluxe?
No, I'm kidding. No, there's
a good one.
So many people have made deluxes. Victoria probably makes a killer deluxe. I think some of the best, the Ellie Pine, the Pine Top.
Oh yeah.
By by Elliott amps.
Oh, that's right.
Elliott guitars, Elliott amps is a really great amp. That's a deluxe reissue. Or that's a remake of a deluxe.
Yeah.
They might have done some things different, so if they did, I apologize for saying it's a deluxe, but it's very clearly deluxe inspired.
Wasn't there like an Edge one?
Yeah, there's an Edge signature,
Okay.
and that's just a signature from the custom shop. I don't know how it's different or what. Actually, it has a Celestian blue in it. Because the Edge has switched his speaker out over the years, and so he's got Celestian blue.
Of those, right?
We do. It's called Edge 5E3.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, or 5E3 Edge or something.
Okay.
And that's out there. The one that we heard today obviously has a vintage Jensen. It's got the original speaker in there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which is quite. It's one of the most it's one of the best amps of all time, I think. I mean, all these amps you can get really a lot of dirt and then come down. You know what I mean? A bridge pickup on this thing will sound like early rock and roll. On that Tweed, it's the same thing.
Gotcha.
Neil Young, Crosby, Stills, Nash, countless people have played that thing. Ton of country guys. Hotel California is obviously that's the sound of those amps turned up with a Les Paul.
Totally, yeah.
Just so many people. The Edge, are all using those. I'm sure the Edge uses signature 5E3, but I mean,
you would think so.
He kind of started on a vintage one,
right? Yeah, exactly.
So they're awesome. They're totally awesome. Yeah, man.
This was fun. I hope we do more of these. And let us know in the comments if you like this stuff. With,
totally.
videos.
I think we talked about this. I think we need to start doing, before I get rid of amps, and I might need to go get some back from Carter's because I just brought a bunch of amps there. We should do. Here's the sound of this amp, and just playing.
Yeah.
It's the sound of this thing.
Pretty cool.
I think that would be awesome.
All
right. I've been HW.
I've been Sooze.
HW and the Sooze.
Out.
Do you want to play us out, Sooze?
Yeah,
I just turned this thing off, but let's see how long it takes to warm up.
Just went to autopilot.
Are you on there? Yeah. Oh. That's how long it took to warm up.
Now you know.
Thanks for watching.
See you.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.